Welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite, a discussion and review podcast focused on, you guessed it, Star Wars. I'm Tim vanautreve, your host. Joining me as always are Josh the Tosh, internet famous humanitarian, Josh Mason.
Hello.
Hi, Josh.
How's it going?
I've had better weeks.
Yeah.
And Jennifer vanautreve.
Currently pregnant.
Currently pregnant. Still pregnant. How far along are you?
30 weeks this week, I think.
30 weeks. The baby's like 3 or 3.5 pounds. It's pretty
What'll
exciting.
be funny is when somebody in the future binge listens and like over the course of a couple, maybe a couple days worth of listening, you'll go from announcement to baby existing.
Yeah.
In a podcast. That'll be interesting.
It'll be an internet first, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's not.
Today, we're finishing up Summer of Comics. Hashtag Summer of Comics is over.
It might not be the last comic, but it is the last
Of
day of
Summer of Comics. Correct. So with it, we're doing a short one because Jennifer didn't want to read.
I've been busy this week.
So we're going to read Star Wars Cassian and K-2SO Rogue One tie-in by Duane, Swierczynski, and Fernando Blanco.
And this was the Star Wars annual, right?
No.
It was just a separate
It was
annual?
just like a one-shot tie-in with Rogue One, a chance to charge people $5 to sell a comic along with a movie.
Interesting.
It tells the origin story of how K-2SO and Cassian came together. We're going to have to make this a quick one because we've got the Bears game coming up.
And it's super hot.
It is super hot in the Nerds Unite recording studio. I blew out my knee this week.
Well, let's back up.
Last week?
Last time we recorded was 1 week ago, exactly. And we were talking about possibly recording later that night.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
that's true.
Josh said, it all depends on the Bears game. If they lose, it just ruins the whole week.
It does.
And this is probably the worst week
And they laid an egg.
we've had in a very long time. Tim had a major injury and is completely
Immobilized.
helpless. So now I'm taking care of him constantly.
Yes.
He's doing lots of laying on the couch watching TV.
I've watched the entirety of Deadwood, and I'm already halfway through The Leftovers. Started it yesterday.
And you
Afternoon.
did Handmaid's Tale.
I haven't finished it,
Oh,
but I've watched it, so...
yeah. So my week's been busy.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning of the bad things that have happened this week, but that's probably
I'll tell you a good thing that happened this week.
What's
Josh, the humanitarian Mason,
I'm not a humanitarian.
he traded cars with us this week so that I could drive because I have a stick shift, and it's real hard to drive when you have a blown out knee.
And it's your right knee.
It is my right knee, but the left knee would have been worse for driving a stick shift.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The clutch requires more fine control and more motion.
That's true.
And a lot more pressure than a
Yeah,
gas pedal
that's true.
or even a brake pedal. So I should be able to trade you cars here in a few days because my knee, I can finally put a little bit of weight
we
on it.
find out tomorrow. He has his appointment after his MRI to find out about surgery and exactly what is torn.
Yeah. The suspicion is ACL plus. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out tomorrow.
We sure will.
So your big question becomes, do you want to do a scavenging mission or do you want to harvest from a dead body
Oh,
your replacement ligament?
I plan to harvest from a dead body
That's what mine is.
because I don't see how pulling something from another spot of my body is going to make the rest of me heal better.
I think the recovery time is fairly similar. I think some people are just freaked out by the idea of having
A cadaver?
Well, you probably could have
part of
a
a dead
better.
person
You
inside.
Oh, I don't
probably
care.
have a. You have to deal with healing two different places, but your body might reject another tissue if it's from outside your body.
The rejection rate of AC ligaments is like incredibly low.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. It's almost like a non-thing.
Yeah. So I'm
Well.
excited about that. Hopefully the Bears win because I need a good week this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully
well,
you can get healed before I have this baby because I cannot take care of two of you at once, and I won't.
Well, I feel bad for our new baby.
No, he's going to be number one. You're going to be in a nursing home or something.
Okay.
Just so you know.
You're only useless for about a week.
Do your best at...
After the surgery?
Yeah.
I don't know about
You'll probably
Tim.
be useless for about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
I was off of morphine within 8 hours of my surgery.
Hmm.
They give you a prescription for about 5 days.
Jeez.
And you get one of the automated dosers.
Yeah.
So you can hit the button if you think you need more.
Nice.
Well, he's finally, like, last night he's finally, like, actually seeming like he can move around now pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, once
Since
your
his
ACL,
injury.
once it's torn, like, there's nothing preventing you from walking on it.
But
other
it's been
than
a week,
scar
and now
tissue
today
and
it's
swelling.
like he's finally getting around
Yeah,
pretty well.
The swelling's gone down a ton. I can't make a normal walking motion. Like my leg is just like a stump to hold my body up. And it feels like my knee's going to like cave in on itself whenever I put weight on it.
It won't.
It sure feels that way
I know, it won't.
because it like kind of catches. Anyway, let's talk about this comic book, huh?
Yeah, so anyway, thanks for that ominous, I don't know what you call it.
It's the truth.
Warning.
Every week is better when they win. Every week is worse when they lose.
Well, they're about to play. Who do they play
the
today?
Steelers,
Are
the
they good?
chances aren't good.
Yeah.
So now I might be dead
So
next
my
week.
it's less bad when you expect them to lose.
That's very true.
I
and they're
always
not-
expect them to lose.
I didn't expect them to lose to Tampa Bay, and I especially didn't expect them to lose like that.
Right. They got
Where
Crushed.
by the end of the first quarter, you're like, okay,
game's
let's
over.
do something else.
right. So maybe they'll put up a fight today. Huh?
Maybe.
Hopefully for our sake.
All right. Talk about the comic. Why don't you break down what happens
Okay.
in Star Wars Cassian and K-2SO Rogue One Special Number 1?
Swierczynski.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it's kind of cool. They don't have like the scrolling text, like they do on the Star Wars comics, but they have like this like Rebels report, and it has I don't know, it kind of just looks like out of a report. It has like the operatives, it's like bullet pointed out. It has like the operatives involved, the mission, and then on the right side it has the credits for everybody who worked on this comic. So this is mostly with just Cassian, and he is the intelligence officer, and then there's these two new characters that are rebel spies that this comic introduces. They're called Curtis and Rismore. They're twin sisters. They don't speak really. They can communicate through smells. Like they produce scents that the other person can interpret, and that's how they talk back and forth. But they're I've never seen this. I mean, have you ever seen this species? No. It's all new. Okay.
So we just spent over a minute on just
The first
the
page.
first setup page that isn't even part of the comic book.
No, it's the credit page.
This is going to be a long synopsis.
No, it's
You should
not.
turn off the iPad.
I was just
You just read it.
So it starts out, they're on this mission. They're going to this planet, Wakako,
Yeah. Sure.
some little planet that they say they're not expecting to see any Imperials there because it's just like a nothing planet that nobody cares about. Or wait, did I say Imperials?
Yeah.
They're not expecting to see the Imperials there. So they have some intel that there is an abandoned Imperial cruiser that had the guts, whatever the guts are, left behind, and they're trying to get in there to get security information, the new Imperial protocols,
Right.
off of the guts of this like cruiser. But they get to the planet and there's stormtroopers everywhere. So they're kind of stuck. Cassian knows where the cruiser is. It's down in this tunnel, so they go down there. But right away, there's those big black droids, like K-2SO. I don't know what they're called. Do you know what they're called?
They're KX series Imperial
KX.
security droids.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them down there. Cassian has an idea of reprogramming one of them to help them escape. The twins are working on trying to extract the information from the guts of this cruiser while he's trying to get to reprogram one of these droids. He's not having a lot of luck because it seems like everything he knew about them was on a previous model. So the K-2SO, which is not his real name, it's just because Cassian has some kind of strange accent and he doesn't pronounce his name correctly, but that's kind of just sticks.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
That's how all the droids are spoken to in universe.
What do you mean?
Where there's the wordization of their
Right.
acronym.
I know, but
spell
he
out
says
the
So
it
like
letters.
wrong.
C-3PO
No, he
is
doesn't.
SEE-THREEPIO.
I know that, but when he tells him what his name is, Cassian doesn't repeat it like exactly.
He says K-2SO.
Yeah.
It's a little different than that.
No,
I
it's
did not take that from that at all. I took it as that's K-2SO. That's his real name.
Well, anyway, I think he kind of changed it a little bit, but he's trying to reprogram him. K-2SO is strangling him at one point. He can't find the kill switch, and he eventually turns him off and back on, but he keeps doing it in a way that K-2SO still has part of his memory intact, so he still keeps trying to attack them. But he eventually gets to Cassian is eventually in command of K-2SO, so he tells him to help them escape and to take them back to their ship and to take out anybody who gets in their way, any stormtroopers. So they're walking through this crowd of people, and these stormtroopers come up and ask him what he's doing, and he's like, "Oh, I'm taking these rebel spies back to their ship." It's really funny because he's just so like specific.
Yeah, he's very literal.
It's right here. This is where K-2SO says what his name is for the very first time.
Oh,
He says his name is K-2SO.
I thought it was something different.
Nope. It's just spelled out.
I know it's spelled out, but I thought he said it. I thought it was a little different than that. Whatever. So the twins, they get away, and the twins help. One of the twins helps Cassian break down K-2SO a little bit further so that he doesn't keep trying to detain or kill Cassian. And eventually he gets him down to the point where he only has like 8% of his memory left, and he's able to take out the base command that's causing him to keep trying to kill Cassian. And they think they're going to be stuck there, but one of the twins finally like speaks in words to Cassian, and she's like, "Just take the droid back to the rebel base. He has all of the security information we could need in his memory." And then her and the other twin go and create a diversion with the stormtroopers while K-2SO and Cassian get on the ship and they escape. But you can see K-2SO's personality the whole time, because he's throwing out the calculations of how, what their chances of survival are, and he's just funny. He's funny from the very beginning, but you get to see exactly how Cassian got a hold of him, where he came from.
So I thought they tried to accomplish a lot of the banter that was in the movie, but a lot of it didn't work for me.
It didn't work because of the whole premise of the story with wiping K-2SO's memory. So his personality wasn't established yet. Like, you couldn't even get to where he had the banter or whatever with Cassian, because
I just thought most of
they
it
wiped
wasn't
it.
very funny.
No, it wasn't, because there was no setup for it to be funny in the story.
The funny part was when the stormtrooper asked him what he was doing, and he's
that
like,
was genuinely funny.
"Yeah, I'm taking these rebels back to their ship.
Right.
That's what I'm doing."
Yeah, I mean, this story I didn't think was written all that great.
I think that
It's-
was the only funny part, and then the rest is just showing you that he's... I mean, they didn't have a relationship yet, so there wasn't like a funny back and forth.
Right. It's because the story was written in a way that would not allow for that to happen.
Well, how would they ever have a relationship before they met?
Well,
They just met.
the robot could have been in some sort of repair shop or something, and the guy could have been tinkering with it and had already wiped most of his memory, and then K-2SO comes out and his memory, his some of his personality's just there already. But here, Cassian's literally wiping his personality out in a series of
I don't think he's wiping his personality out. He's just wiping his memory.
Yeah, and his
Because
base, he talks about how he's going to wipe his base programming out.
Right.
Right.
That's after the last one.
Right. Because, you have to do it in threes. So he had to wipe his memory 3 times. It just, everything was choppy in the story. And like you go from panel to panel and it just didn't seem like logical leaps to things. And the story was not written for me. I wasn't a big fan.
I think in general, it was fine. I didn't dislike the story.
I would have liked it better if I'd gotten it for $1.
I wasn't super pumped about it, but I thought it was... This is the type of thing I would rather them write about than the stuff they're writing about in Star Wars.
$5.
I
This book costs.
understand. It's a lot. I think the value proposition of comics in general.
How much was that droid comic?
$5.
Same.
Yeah, this was a lot more valuable than that one.
Yes, it was. I agree with that.
I didn't think it was that bad. I just don't care. I really like K-2SO, so he was my favorite character in Rogue One.
But he wasn't that likable in this because he hadn't had that relationship established with Cassian yet.
Well, he doesn't have the relationship
I
yet.
know
They're
that.
telling you how he got him, not how
understand.
they built their bromance.
I understand that. I'm telling you why he wasn't as interesting in this book.
Oh.
It's hard to... It would have been better if we could have read this before we saw the movie. Because having seen the movie, it changes everything.
You already have an opinion of him because he's so funny in the movie.
Right.
And this, yeah.
Okay.
So
I totally agree with that.
was Joss Whedon involved in Rogue One at all?
No.
Wasn't he involved in Episode 7?
I don't think he's ever, officially been involved.
What? I thought he was.
But I think, people have consulted him.
I thought Joss Whedon was a big part of one of the movies.
Yeah, I think he came in to help write,
Well, because the guy who played K-2SO, that Alan Tudyk,
yeah.
I really like him, and he's in, every single one of Joss Whedon's projects ever.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I mean, anytime I see him, I'm like, oh, Joss Whedon must be involved in this somehow. But he's just really good. So, I mean, not like he can't get a job on his own, but...
Sounds like that's what you're implying.
No,
He does a ton of voiceover stuff.
I know, but...
I don't know, funny thing about Alan Tudyk?
What?
He's in every Pixar movie.
Isn't he in The Incredibles, I think?
He's in every
Pixar movie.
Jeez. Wait.
Wait a minute.
What about Ratatouille? Is he in that one?
I didn't know Joss Whedon was involved in Pixar.
He's not.
See, No. I just had in my head that Joss Whedon helped with the first Star Wars. I thought that...
I don't think that he did.
I swear there was a big announcement about that.
I think you're confusing maybe Joss Whedon with somebody else.
I'm not.
I just searched Google and nothing came up other than Joss Whedon saying he wants to direct a Star Wars movie. He's involved with Marvel.
I know that. Well, I don't know.
Well, there we have it.
I thought the art was cool.
It was fine.
It was sufficiently busy.
Yeah. Yeah, the scenes with all the aliens were cool. I liked the new aliens. I thought that was cool that they communicate by scent. And the idea that, they're not necessarily good scents.
Yeah, he smells
Yeah.
bad things and he thinks they're talking bad about him and stuff.
Right. So I would give this a 4. Comic was okay, but
I think it's a 5 or a 6.
It's
Leaning more towards 6.
I was going to say 6.5 is because I like K-2SO so much.
all right. Summer of Comics is over. Ding, ding, ding.
Now it's going to be
What?
fall comics. So they said...
Autumn of Comics.
they announced the final season of Rebels, how it's going to play out. They're going to release 2 episodes per week for 4 weeks in October. And then a big gap, and then have the last 5 episodes in the spring.
That sounds perfect for us. By spring, we might have caught up.
Well, I think it'll naturally, we could do 2 episodes at a time. Right?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
But not 6. 6 is a lot.
We're not.
Are you talking about Rebels?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are you even in the same room as us? So I think we should have this be the fall of novels.
Fall of Naval.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can talk about some books.
I like it. Hashtag fall of novels.
That's not going to happen.
It's already happened. It's
How
already,
many novels are there to talk about, though?
Oh, we have
we're
10.
way behind.
Easy 10. Next episode, we'll do what you had talked about, Josh,
it
where
takes
we
forever
record
to
our...
read a book, though.
You're not going to have to, Jenny. We're cutting you out. Don't worry. We're going to do what we talked about, where I'm going to do a synopsis by myself of Empire's End, and then we'll play it, and then we'll discuss it. And then Josh will do one on
Thrawn.
Yeah, Thrawn, and then we'll discuss it.
And then I'll do Inferno Squad.
Yep, and, well, I read that, too.
So did I.
So we could talk about that
Yeah.
one live. And then I read Leia.
Yeah, so you'll have to do Leia, and I'm reading Phasma. Almost done.
Yeah, so that's like a ton of episodes, and you don't have to read a single thing, except for maybe the Wikipedia article would be good if you wanted to read that beforehand.
Or you can just listen to our book report.
I can grade your book reports.
But we got to do it like the local book reports on PBS.
What are those like?
You don't watch PBS?
No, I don't watch
What
PBS.
are you people doing?
So they have
Nursing my knee.
Did you see our TV downstairs?
Yeah, well,
Even
PBS
if we
comes in
tried
loud
to
and
watch
clear.
PBS, we wouldn't be watching PBS.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
When you try to watch regular TV off the antenna, it's all junk.
Your antenna is junk. So
I bought
anyways,
the one you linked me.
you're not installing it properly then. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm not. It has to be in a different way.
All right, so the way the local station does it is it's a little kid from a local library sitting in front of a blue screen. And then they have a picture of the book cover like above his right shoulder or her left shoulder. And it says what library they're from. And they are horrible at giving book reports.
That sounds awesome.
Well, that sounds like we might match their skill level.
And they read the funniest book for do book reports on the funniest things.
Well, we're doing Star Wars Reads Day, aren't we?
Hopefully.
Yes, we already told
Are
them
you
we
gonna
were.
survive?
We're on the
Yeah,
agenda.
I'll survive. Is
We're
that
already on the
October 8th?
schedule. It's October 7th.
Yeah,
2 weekends. I think.
yeah, but we're over at the library.
The not Fond du Lac, the Washington
Washington.
main branch
So we'll be there.
district library.
It's on October 7th.
You can
Doing a
pump
live
some
podcast.
iron, and then you can go swim, and then you can listen to a live podcast.
Did you
all
f-
in one building.
Did you guys figure out what we're talking about?
No.
We're going to read some of those like short kid novels, short young adult novels or kid books, and then give them away to kids there.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about promoting reading for children.
Well, then why don't we buy some of those?
Well, that was the plan.
Oh, okay.
We will. We will have to.
Okay, which means I will have to
No,
because
I can do it.
you will act like it's impossible for you
You
to
have
do.
a lot of time on your hands right now, Tim. I think
Not a
you
whole lot on your plate.
You can make a couple clicks from the couch to order us these books.
He doesn't even have to click. He could just tell
In
Alexa
between leftover episodes,
Yeah.
maybe while the credits are rolling.
for the 15 seconds in between while it auto queues up the next episode.
Let's get to letters, shall we?
Oh, okay. Book.
This one is from Chris. He says, "Hey guys," he put 100 in the pie lid. Just listened to episode 100 and loved it. Was totally jealous of all the Nerd Squadron announcements, but hopefully one day I can enter. What is the best way to be inducted?
I don't have a horse in this race. You guys have to provide that information.
The best
What?
way to be
How do you
inducted.
not have a horse in the race?
Because I am not a part of this.
Don't absolve yourself of that.
I am not.
So this is
Never
what
have been.
happens. I make a list of who I want in the Nerd Squadron, and then Josh and Tim tell me all the reasons why some of the people I pick shouldn't be in it, and then I have to fight for the case
I
to
did
get
not
them
do
in.
that.
Yes, you did.
I only argued on the names.
Oh, well, then Tim argued that some people shouldn't be in it yet. So then I have to fight your case.
I just said yet.
So
Like, they had emailed like 2 or 3 times so far, and Jenny was like, yep, they're in Nerd Squadron. They told me I was the best podcaster ever. Get them in.
No.
So you want to be in Nerd Squadron? Send Jen infinite compliments, and you're in.
So it's usually been, if you write in a lot or interact with us a lot.
Or send us things.
Nobody sent us.
Oh, yeah, I'm still waiting on the avocados from Coxmanus. Although he got a
no, we
Nerd
haven't
Squadron.
really
Trouble in Paradise.
So
What happened with the poll on the best synopsizer?
I don't know. David Jeffries never said anything about the results.
Who made the poll?
David Jeffrey.
David
He did it
Jeffrey.
on some site that I don't have access to look at the results.
I have no idea either.
David is in charge of our Facebook.
You should hound him in one of
He makes regular posts.
the credit breaks.
I will.
So emailing us in frequently, or in the beginning, a lot of people tweeted. Those are ways to get into Nerd Squadron, and but we can only do like a certain amount at a time. Obviously, I think last time we did like
13. 12, and then we later inducted.
Somebody that I wanted in the first place, and you fought with me about it. And then you later said, we should have had him in.
We should have had him in. You're right. You were right.
So, it's a very scientific process.
Yeah.
I know everyone is entitled to their opinion, but come on, Jen. Episode 5 is easily the best Star Wars movie. I really liked Episode 7 and Rogue One, but not a scratch on 5. Hope you enjoyed it, though.
We had reviewed Empire Strikes Back, I think, in a fairly recent episode.
I gave a
did
synopsis of the movie. And
a retelling of the tale?
Jeez. In greater detail than the movie. Well, you see the Minox, what they look like are...
I didn't dislike it. I just...
So Yana watched Empire. She's watched our exchange student from Germany. She's a 15-year-old girl. And she's a lot more like Nora than any of the other kids.
She had never seen any of the Star Wars anything.
So we had her watch A New Hope, and she was like, ugh, what did I get myself into?
This is old.
And then she watched Rogue One, and she liked that okay.
She really liked that one.
And then we watched Empire, and she said she did really like it. She said it was a lot better than the first one still.
She didn't really like it. She still liked Rogue One better. She also liked Moana better.
Well,
than
she
Empire.
did. She liked Moana better than Empire Strikes Back.
That's fine.
But she said she liked this one because it's got the famous lines in it that everybody knows about. She's like, oh, it makes sense now. And I think she'll like Episode 7 a lot.
She hasn't watched it yet?
Well, we wanted to show her who Han was before we had her watch Force
I
Awakens.
understand.
Tim is in control of her
Star Wars destiny.
consumption?
Yeah, he's only letting it come in certain.
Well, it's been interesting having a new perspective on, like, people always ask, what order would you show people the movies in? And it's like, well, I guess this order now, right? Because I was trying to think about what would keep them engaged, because I can see how a lot of people wouldn't be that interested in A New Hope. It's older and the effects aren't that great comparatively. Like, maybe some little kid who's into spaceships and battles and stuff would like it, but...
Yeah, but a little kid that's growing up now, those effects would look stupid to him. He wouldn't be like, oh, cool.
They look great, you shut your mouth!
Because they're just so used to better technology, but...
I think they look better in some areas, and
No.
for most kids, they don't care about that.
She did when we were watching... I think she really liked Rogue One a lot, and when we were watching it, she really liked K-2SO. And when he was dying, she was like, oh
no.
Is he really...
Yeah,
Is he dying? She like couldn't believe that they were actually killing him. I was like, yeah, I know. This is like the worst part. This is the worst thing that's ever happened in Star Wars ever. It's worse than the Death Star.
Continuing, he says, I was going to watch the Star Wars films the other night. Well, start watching them. And when I opened the box set, I noticed episode 1 is missing. Because I am weird, I can't start with episode 2, so I wasn't able to. No idea where it is, but it's weird that there is only one disc missing. Think my other half is winding me up, but can't prove anything. I will have my revenge.
Oh, Tim, do you know
Getter.
where our Star Wars box set is?
Yes, why?
Do you know?
Yes, why?
Because the other day Tamika was like, "Oh my God, I need to give you those Star Wars movies back before my kids destroy them." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "I have all your Star Wars movies.
Huh?
Lenny wanted me to watch them." And so my brother wanted her to watch all the Star Wars movies, but she couldn't. She wouldn't. I don't know. She hasn't watched them, but they've had our huge box set all this time.
How?
She said you gave it to my brother.
I have no memory of that.
I don't either. But she says she has all our Star Wars movies. And she's afraid her kids are going to destroy them.
Good to hear.
I know.
Chris says, keep up the great work, guys, and can't wait to hear more. May the force be with you. Chris. P.S. I need a nickname. A lot of people giving themselves nicknames. Do you have a nickname for Chris yet, Jenny?
No. I will get one.
This is also from Chris. He says, hey, guys. This one is about Vader. I like to think I know more than the average person about Star Wars, but I am in no way an expert, so I have a question for you. Have you read anything that I haven't, which would make you think Vader had made any holocrons? Do you think he knew how to? I haven't read anything about Vader being in a holocron. Have we?
Making a holocron. No, there's definitely nothing in the new canon that I've read that...
I can't think of anything.
I would think the new Vader comic...
would eventually have one.
Maybe, because it's kind of covering his formative Sith years. So maybe that'll...
I hope so. I think that's
come
cool.
out there.
I was just thinking that what if he did, and what if Kylo Ren found one? He did have his helmet after all. If I am being stupid, please don't be harsh on me, Josh. What? You're mean, Josh.
I guess.
I would think that if he had a holocron, he would have been watching it at some point when he was...
What would he even put on it, I guess? Like, by the time he becomes Vader not out of strength, right? He becomes Vader out of weakness.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he has anything to teach the aspiring Sith.
Sure he does.
What? Don't be a Sith?
Yeah. How to overtake your master.
He doesn't seem to be the one to want to share knowledge with
No.
anybody.
No.
Or help anybody else out.
He's surrendered to his fate until Luke reminds him of who he really is.
Well, isn't it weird that in the Vader comics, when he has that like near-death moment and he sees Padme, she can't talk him out of it, but then Luke does. Like,
Because he's real mad then.
He was super mad.
Yeah, he
thought she was cheating on him with Obi-Wan for some reason.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Did he really think that?
That's kind of the insinuation.
Wow.
I know Darth Bane struggled for years to make one, and the art of making holocrons was lost, but that is no longer in canon. May the force be with you, Chris. Ooh, this is a long one from Michael Young. We have only a few minutes. I'll read this fast. He says, catching up for the summer. Hi, squad. Ol' AF checking in. Sorry I haven't written in a while. I've been busy throughout the summer, and I'll fill you in where it's relevant. I recently had an 8-hour drive back from Myrtle Beach and had the chance to listen to episodes 116 through 120. Happy belated birthday, Tim. Thanks, buddy. I saw on Facebook that Tim has a birthday the day after mine. We are birthday buddies. Stage direction, start singing the My Buddy song. My buddy.
My buddy.
My buddy.
My buddy.
My buddy and me.
Thanks,
Man,
Jen.
Did you see that? That was great. Do you have
What?
plans
She
to
doesn't
assemble?
even know what just happened.
Do you have plans to assemble the sweet tie that the Tosh gave you?
You're singing the My Buddy commercial.
I did build the tie. It is sitting on my bookshelf in the living room. Force Friday 2. I hope you get to this letter before Force Friday 2.
We didn't.
Sorry. Are you going to do another remote episode?
We did.
I hope so. I have to say that this was one of my favorite episodes, discussing what you bought, ordering your meal, and eating all at the same time. Maybe bring unsuspecting guests onto the podcast to get their feedback on the sweet TLJ merch. We're not good at talking to strangers.
There weren't any strangers in the restaurant. We were the only ones there other than the people that came and got carryout and pissed off Yana.
She was so hungry. She was like, why do they have their food before us?
I hope you get to this letter before... Oh, I already read that. The Van Autreve household. First up, I hope things are going well with Jen and Baby.
Baby's good.
You may have
Jen
mentioned...
is bad.
You may have mentioned it, but when is Jen due?
December 5th.
Speaking of the household, how is the exchange student working out?
Perfect. She's wonderful. I don't want her to go back to Germany. I don't know if I can get in
Have you told her about the podcast and the SWNU crew? Yes.
Oh yeah, she knew about it
embarrassed.
before she came.
She doesn't want to come on the podcast. Expanding the Nerd Squad.
We're going to have to force her to at least say hello.
I know. A few people have requested admission to the Nerd Squad. I think that current squad members should have input as to who gets in. We decide how many can get in, say 3, and then the candidates present their credentials. Each squad member votes for 3, and the top 3 get in. Whew.
I'm staying out of this.
That sounds really complicated. A week of disaster on the farm. A few weeks ago, a Friday started out normal enough. Then my wife accidentally dropped her mobile phone into the toilet. It was not a waterproof phone, so that was the end of the phone. This was the replacement phone that our daughter dropped into the pool a couple months earlier while we were on vacation. Both times it had a case on it that didn't save it. Maybe Josh is onto something.
They're superfluous.
The next day, summer storm came through.
Nobody ever claimed that they were waterproof.
There are waterproof cases.
And we weren't able to get our ducks and chicks secured for the night. Uh-oh. When the storm ended, we went out to secure them, and 6 of my 8 ducks have been killed by a predator.
Oh my gosh.
We figured it was a fox. Tonight we set a trap, and we'll see how it goes. Sorry for the downer. Tell us if you caught...
I want to know if he caught that fox.
How to catch a predator? How did you catch it?
Maybe it was a coyote.
Yeah. You should get a waterproof phone. They're AF.
Yeah, I have a Samsung phone that's waterproof, and I've taken videos in a pool, and it works really well, and it's nice.
Yeah.
I've seen Tim throw his phone into a pool just to
show off.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to be like,
Hey, watch this, idiots.
Movie Pass. I'm sure you guys are up on the Movie Pass phenomena. I have mine on order. If this works out, this is the cheap way to see a ton more movies. Your thoughts?
I agree.
I think it sounds really cool, but it's just like any subscription thing. You think it's like, oh, I could see so many movies in a month for only $10, and then the reality is you might only have time to go one time or no times in the month.
So my father-in-law goes to movies 3 or 4 times a week because he's retired.
Yeah.
So he's half retired. He's officially retired, but he still teaches for funsies. And so I told him about it, and he got it, and he is going to bankrupt the company.
Yeah. Like if you
it's
actually...
perfect for him.
Yeah, it's perfect for people who have a lot of time on their hands. It sounds good no matter what because movies are so expensive, but I'm afraid if we got it, we'd be like paying $10 and then some.
Well, it's more than 10.
Yeah,
You-
we'd be paying for each person.
I know, yeah. So,
You're committing to a lot of movies.
Yes.
And like my kids are too young to really
I think it's a great idea,
feasibly
though.
do that.
It's cool that they're offering this because movies are very expensive.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
And our local theater is in Movie Pass.
And
Yeah.
I think that it's gonna, like, if you spend this $10 a month or whatever, you're like, you go to the movie theater and you don't have to pay to get in. You're gonna spend a ton more on popcorn and
soda,
stuff.
yeah.
So you're gonna end up.
You do that
spending,
anyways, though.
Well, sometimes you're like, I can't buy that much because it's $8 just to get in. But then now you're still gonna be like, oh, I got in free, and now you're gonna like, yeah, that's
probably what they're banking on.
I know. They're like,
Okay, Science Corner. Finally, did you see the eclipse in totality? It didn't seem that far from you. I hope you made it. Your thoughts?
So I told him I would give him a detailed explanation on this because you guys did not see it in totality.
I saw it on a television screen from. I couldn't get the glasses. I had to work that day, and my mom was in the hospital, so I just sat in her room and watched it on the television.
Yeah. So I took the day off, and my son and I drove to Liverpool, Illinois, which is down south of St. Louis.
City that even the people that live there have never heard of.
Yeah. And my brother-in-law also took the day off, and he lives in St. Louis, and his house is like right on the edge of totality. So we were contemplating just hanging out at his house and then just walking a few blocks south to get into totality for a while. But ultimately, we decided that it probably wasn't a good idea. And so he went the day before and scouted out some of these towns. There's a bunch of smaller towns in southern Illinois. And he found this park in Liverpool. And so we met down there. And this park had like park stuff for little kids. Because Job's only 4. So keeping a child entertained for a whole day, 3.5 hours from your house is hard to do. But they had a sweet park, and it was in the shade because it was super duper hot. Like it was 100 degrees almost. And we had the Switch in the car. So we sat in the car in the park for most of the day in the air conditioning, and he could sit in his seat and watch the eclipse happen over time. And then the park was perfect because it was like so secluded and it had so little parking that it was impossible to be packed because there was nowhere for people to park. So there was probably 100 people in this park. It wasn't packed at all. It was super chill. And then to describe, I'm sure everyone's heard this by this point. We're a month late. But when totality comes upon you is very eerie. And it's like there's no way to experience it other than in an eclipse. And it's very, I don't know, it's just otherworldly. And once especially all the people that I've talked to, because I had a number of coworkers that went as well, but not to where I went. But like the next one that we can feasibly go to is in 7 years. And people are already planning to go again because it's just such a unique experience. You can't experience it anywhere else.
Yeah, when I was watching it on TV, it would be like show, different cities across the country all day long, because as it travels across the country, and you would just like see all these people standing in a field or whatever, and then you'd hear everybody going, oh, like everybody's like, oh my God, like everybody's acting like
it's crazy.
It's just so
your body cannot, like you immediately, without doing anything, just get this adrenaline high because your body knows something crazy is happening.
What do the animals do around?
Well, so different animals do different things. Like when you get closer to totality, it gets like sunset. And so like crickets start chirping and birds start calling and then it gets dark and everything acts like nothing, all those sounds go away because they think it's night. And then all of a sudden it's day again and it just goes back to normal. And the transitions of what you see all happen in 10 minutes. You get to experience every single part of the day. It's crazy.
How far away was this park from Carbondale? Because I thought you had to be like really, really south. Isn't Carbondale a lot farther?
It's about 30 miles to the west.
That's
of
it?
Carbondale.
Oh, I thought Carbondale was a lot farther away.
No, it's not terribly far. The drive home took us 6 hours because the roads were so packed.
Oh my God.
But it was totally worth it.
The kids got to hear, which wasn't in the path of totality, but the kids here got to go outside at some point during the day at school, and they were given glasses from the school, and they all had to share and go out like a little bit at a time, but they all got to see at least part of it, so that was cool.
Yeah,
there you have it.
You gotta go in 7 years. You have to go do what you need to do to go see it in totality.
Sure thing. Well, I'll have a 7-year-old then, or a 6-year-old. Maybe he'll be interested.
Take the day off now. Put it in your calendar. We'll probably be going to Texas because it'll be in April, so it'll be the rainy season here, and clouds can ruin your day really fast.
Oh, that was the thing. Like here in around Peoria, it was really, really cloudy that day, and like everybody, there was such hype about it, and people were going crazy trying to find the glasses. Everywhere was sold out. People made all these plans, and then the whole day it was just, you couldn't even see the sun. It was
so the interesting thing
cloudy.
Though is if you put on the polarized glasses, you could see the eclipse.
You could see it even through the clouds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, oh, I feel bad for all those people who.
But yeah, down south. So there was some people at Carbondale that got completely clouded out during totality, but where we were, it was perfect.
Wow.
There was no clouds.
The Bears are not losing yet.
Nice.
We need to get to the game.
All right.
We are on the BenView network. There's a lot of fine podcasts there. You guys should check it out. We are everywhere on the internet, and thanks for listening to our show. Send us letters at StarWarsNerdsUnite.com.
We have a Patreon.
We do have a Patreon if you want to do that thing. Thanks to everybody who does that.
We have
chairs.
a YouTube link, or not YouTube link. We have an Amazon link.
Mm-hmm. All right. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Go Bears.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the BenView Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at BenViewNetwork.com.